Hey guys, it is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Our guest tonight is candidate for the North Carolina State Senate, District 18. Chris Stockey is getting his last couple of doors done. He will be joining us very shortly. But
we're going to vamp.
So we're now going to vamp. What we were going to do, if Dwight had given us a little bit more warning about this, is I would have put a paper bag over my head. And it would be like the classic, empty chair at the debate scenario where you could like ask me questions. Or that's plan A, or plan B, if we were technologically sophisticated, would be we would get an AI image of Chris and then ask him questions. We would take his voice and we would be able to come up with the responses for him. What do you think?
We don't have the budget for that.
Actually, we do have the budget for that because it's actually not that horribly expensive to do.
It's actually the scary thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Let me tell you, AI, I could offload a whole bunch of my development, just have hire AI.
Oh, that's what the workforce is afraid of.
Now, so they shouldn't be. Okay, it's like the people that were afraid of typewriters. It's like the people who were afraid of computers. Remember when the internet first came around, Mark, in the 90s? Everyone was afraid of it, and they thought it was a fad. There was a guy I worked with when I was at Accuracy Media. He goes, "Oh, this whole internet and computer." Well, you're right back to those advocates, and we shouldn't
actually. No, but let me go back. Those jobs were eliminated, and what did happen was the women who were secretaries came into the workforce.
Mm-hmm. So that was the beginning of the end.
And they got new titles: office assistant. Office assistant.
People began working at doing their own stuff. I mean, my first job, we used to do reports, and we had like a whole typing pool that would crank out different drafts and would edit and go back. I mean, it was a much more convoluted process.
He made it.
Hey, Chris. How are you guys? I'm so sorry about that.
No,
you're not a problem.
Yeah, having a riveting conversation about typewriters.
Oh, I'm riveting. Can't believe I missed it.
Well, we were also talking about how you were hitting your last couple of doors for the night. That's why you were running a little late.
Oh, believe me, it's not. We're doing doors Saturday for the first time because we just finished municipals here yesterday. So we wanted to make sure we finish those up. But I am at every meeting of everything you could imagine for obvious reasons, and I go from Raleigh to Granville County back to Wake Forest. And when they shut down roads that I'm sure you guys aren't familiar with here in Wake County, it makes things a lot harder to get back home to where you could sit in front of a TV or laptop screen. So I apologize.
Yeah. Now, so moral of the story is 2026 started at 12:01 this morning.
That's exactly right.
Hey, hold on. Before we start, I'm going to show off. Chris has a great video. I love this.
Which one is it?
This is your kickoff video. Hold on. I'm getting it queued up. Okay. Share screen. You need to do these full screen, by the way, just constructive criticism. Here we go.
Oh, you're good. I can send you the full screen copy of it. Okay. There's no audio, I don't think, on this one. Can you guys hear it? And I can or no?
No. It's more dramatic than silent. No.
You're not hearing anything? Okay, hold on. No. Hold on. One little thing we can do. Hold on. I think I forgot to hit the share audio.
That's important.
No, it's checked off. Let's try it again.
See, Jackie, we're going to have to go back to plan A, which is that here we go.
There it is.
Now, folks, I don't know if you know this about me, but I actually ran for class president, 4th grade. Breaking news. I watched a video of it pretty recently, and one of the things that you saw was a kid in a white shirt with an American flag tie on, telling people that if I win, we all win. So in memory of that, I will tell you all this. I'm Chris Stock. I started my career actually working for my dad. I'm the oldest son of 2 small business owners here in Wake Forest. My mom also a former substitute teacher. And I give my dad and my mom credit for instilling that in us at such an early age. So I just want to recognize them and my brother Greg, my sister Sienna, my grandmother, my aunt Christine, longtime girlfriend Kirsten. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. This has been so overwhelming. Thank you for being here. Representative Sheetsell, thank you, Representative Ron. We have Ashley Adams here as well. With Senator Brent Jackson, I wouldn't be up here talking to you guys without that man giving me the deference and respect that he gave. With the help of that man, I worked on 4 different farm acts for our farmers to ensure that our #1 economic driver in North Carolina, our farmers, are always taken care of. We have to come together, not only as a party, but as a community, everybody in this room, in order to ensure that we find the solutions that work best for all of us. That's the only way we're going to get things done. We need somebody who understands exactly how this process works, exactly how to get things through the General Assembly, and has the experience to do so. And I believe I'm the candidate in the race that can do that. There is no person that will work harder on behalf of this community than me. There is no one who has been brought up the way I have, that has the intangibles and the integrity, that understands exactly what it takes to get things done, and that is willing to make the personal sacrifices in order to do it in this race with me. And if I win, we all win.
Well, you have my vote.
That was a great commercial. I really liked it. That was a great opening video. Tells your story.
Thank you.
That's like
Thank
you got rid of all of our opening questions, right? Platform and all that. So I guess, Chris, tell us a little bit about the district you're in. What's the demographic like? Are you facing an incumbent? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I was going to say, Jackie, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'll bet you there are a bunch of farmers in the district.
Just a hunch.
there's a bit. Agriculture is something that's near and dear to my heart for a number of reasons. So hopefully we can get into that at some point. But no, Jackie, so it's Senate District 18. So Senate District 18 is made up of northern Wake County and all of Granville County. So if you look at the North Carolina map, Wake County is where you would find Raleigh typically. And then there's that county right above it, and it goes right up to the Virginia line right there. It incorporates in northern Wake a little bit of North Raleigh, but all of Wake Forest, Roseville, part of Wendell, and a little bit of Zebulon. And like I said, all of Granville County up to the Virginia border. So it's a sizable district. It's a purple district. It's a district that I think on paper, it's an R+1, if you really want to call it that. It's made up of a lot of swing voters. It's made up of a lot of unaffiliated voters, 60,000+ of them. It's made up of a good bit of urban versus rural, I think is the best way of also looking at it. You can see, your urban sprawl, your residential issues more in places, there you go, in northern Wake, things in development along those lines. And then Granville faces similar type of issues, but it's rural. So Mark, to your point, it's definitely some more ag and things along those lines up there. We have the incumbent in this race is a Democrat. He's won by 128 votes. That's how slim the margin was last time. And so with this race being in November of 2026, as cliche as it sounds, this district is the epitome, an example of where every vote literally counts. Every single one. It is something that I think is kind of overlooked sometimes, depending on which district you're running in and how the makeup is. But it's that slim here. And so we got started on this campaign, I think 3 weeks ago. I think at least public, doing a lot of work ahead of time as well. This campaign is going to be all about meeting folks where they're at. We need to literally be on every doorstep and every meeting, in every type of a venue we can be, meeting voters face to face to talk about the dinner table issues of today. And that's what it's going to be, at least here moving forward. So I think I answered a couple questions there, but yeah, that's for the most part where we're at.
You referenced in that video your experience. So talk a little bit about, I assume that involves some staff work. Talk about what
Yes, sir.
you've been doing.
Yes, sir. So I got my first job was working for my dad, and then I got promoted to Chipotle and Zaxby's. And then you kind of want to go crawling back to your parents a little bit. But the first job I had in the political world, at least, was around in 2015. right around the first time with the presidential cycle there. Got to work with the North Carolina Republican Party at that time. I was an unpaid intern. It was the first political job I had ever had. I remember pretty fondly walking up and down Hillsborough Street from my apartment at NC State in the one suit that I owned. It's not this jacket I'm wearing now, I promise. But it was at that time that I really got interested in politics. And so I got to learn from some mentors, got to be a part of the process, learn the people, got to work on a number of state conventions where I met folks like Dwight at that time, and Jackie as well. And then from there, worked up in DC for Congressman David Rouser. So I got a lot of experience working up there. Excuse me. And then after that, got to come back to North Carolina and work for State Senator Wesley Meredith at the North Carolina General Assembly in the North Carolina Senate. Senator Meredith formerly represented Cumberland County in North Carolina, which had Fort Bragg, Fayetteville area, and some few cities and municipalities outside of that. So I got to work on a lot of different things and on constituent issues, as you could expect in that area, when it came to VA issues, and folks that make sure that we can have the podcast like we're having tonight, and earned a lot of the ability to just kind of learn some of that and again, meet folks where they're at to help solve their problems. From there, I then worked for the Senior Senate Appropriations Chair in the North Carolina Senate, Senator Brent Jackson, who was referenced in that video as well, who I definitely consider to be my greatest political mentor. And in that capacity with him, had the honor and privilege of being able to pass a number of state budgets that we saw here in North Carolina that make our state the #1 state for business for a reason. And then in addition to that, passed a number of Farm Acts, which is our big agricultural policy bill, omnibus bill that we do here, to ensure that, all of us be able to be thankful the fact that the food is on our table every night. The people that work their tails off day in and day out are taken care of, and ensure that we're doing our best at a governmental level to allow for that to happen.
So yesterday was kind of a rough night for Republicans, but I think a lot of us are kind of getting introspective and saying, okay, what did we learn from the polls that came out, the exit polls, and what people were really voting on? So was there anything that you took away from yesterday that you're going to be taking into consideration for your race?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good question. I've I've differed on emotions and my response, I think, from last night to tonight, and I'm glad that 24 hours has happened. I think, like anybody watching it, you had a natural negative reaction. Everybody was a little taken back to the extent of which it, how it happened and to the numbers itself. But I think, Jackie, you hit the nail on the head there to be introspective. I think we have to take a look at what worked and what didn't work, and we have to look at ourselves. I think there's oftentimes in situations like this, especially in politics, we want to point fingers, whether it's internally or whether it's externally, at the other side, or people that are involved in these races. And I don't want to have that opinion. I don't have that opinion. I think there are a lot of people that worked hard. I think we have to do better as a party to relate to people on those dinner table issues that I mentioned before. We have to do better at making sure that our folks know. I think this was the biggest thing, especially here: where to vote, why to vote, who we're voting for, when early voting starts, when the polling, locations open, and where they are in your local area. I think, especially with municipal races, it's really easy to kind of overlook the importance of them, and all politics is local. It really is. And I think once we can hopefully have that introspection, we can come back to the table understanding that in 26, we maybe have to tweak our messaging a little bit, and messaging to the extent that I think some of the frustration personally for me stemmed from the issues that folks that were successful ran on, because I do think the Republican issues, and especially for this campaign, as 29 years old, I think this campaign is, for me and personally, and for the people that I love and care about, my community and my family that's here, it all has everything to do with quality of life and cost of living. And those are Republican issues. And I think we got out messaged in that. And I think that came back to hurt us. There is a lot that we can do as a party to make sure that people, whether it's people around my age, older, people that are just getting their life started, buying their first home, starting their own American dream, that they have the tools that are necessary to be able to do that. And that starts with cost of living, and that starts with quality of life with it. I think we missed the mark a little bit on that. And I think there's a lot for us that we can do, especially on this campaign, but even just Republicans nationally, on those two topics in particular, that we could absolutely make sure that the electorate, the people, and the citizens here understand that those are the dinner table topics and issues that we care about, and we have the solutions for them.
Talk a little bit about sort of the North Carolina specific issues that you'll be focusing on. Tell us a little bit about what the dynamics are in the state and how you would fit into that in the state Senate.
Yeah. So North Carolina, it's a purple state, and don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise, because it is. It's very different depending on where you are. I think, again, going to the two big things of quality of life and cost of living, it depends on where you are in this state. For this district in particular, in northern Wake County, I've lived here in Wake Forest for 21 years now, 20 plus. Time flies by, but it's the affordability crisis and being able to own a home is something that is really kind of lingering over the heads of people that are in this area, along with development. I think we have to take a look at a number of things here in this state and what we can do. I think we could take a look at things like first-time home buyer tax credits. We could take a look at abatement when it comes to property taxes, or freezing of property taxes when it comes to people that are buying their first-time home. I think there's a lot of deregulation that can be done, especially within the home building industry, to allow for that to happen for smaller plots of lands with smaller starter homes. I think there's a big issue as well here when it comes on that, as well with corporate entities and buying up homes, those buy for rent homes that oftentimes kind of price people out with cash deals. I think we see a lot of that as well here. So there's a lot that plays into that in that respect. In quality of life, I think a lot of that comes down to public safety. One of the biggest issues that we're going to be running on in this campaign is to make sure that we keep our communities safe, and that we keep people that continue time in and time out to commit violent crime, stay in prison and stay in jail where they should be. And I think that's something that you see probably a little bit more at a national level at major cities here in Charlotte and Raleigh, respectively. But it's beginning as well to bleed over into some of the areas that you wouldn't otherwise expect. And I think that comes down to a lack of enforcement. It comes down to, I think, what has been hyper politicalization of our judicial system. I think it comes with a little bit more of ideological people that are working in that respect sometimes, and straying away from what my opinion, even as an attorney, which is a deterrence for crime, is punishment. And I think that's something that we've strayed away from in a certain respect. So I think that taking a look at cashless bail policies here, ending of cashless bail, making sure we reform magistrates and how they're able, and the accountability that they have, especially when presiding over cases initially, to keep people off the street, is something that's always important. Another thing I think, honestly, too, when it comes to just North Carolina and this campaign and how things play out on this platform that we're talking about, are local projects. And I know maybe you're talking to people in Maryland right now, not in North Carolina, but if you look at Wake County and look at Granville County, they're two very different places. North Wake has an issue right now with transportation and with infrastructure, where our infrastructure is probably 20 years behind the growth that we have. And we have to change up the way those metrics are done to ensure that the funding that the state can provide. Go ahead.
And
Dwight.
as one who drives through North Carolina regularly on my way to Florida, you need to do something about all those construction going on in like 95 and 85.
Well, you need
Dwight,
to. That's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. I think the interstate's one thing, but I think there's the major highways in and around North Carolina, the state roads as well. There's a project here in North Wake County called the Capitol Boulevard US 1 project. It has been a widening project that more or less has been on the table to be funded, started, constructed, whatever you want to call it, for over a decade. And we're just now getting to the point where, like, the very beginning of the wheels are starting to turn, thanks to some Republican leadership that we've seen in this district, actually making that happen. And we have to, Dwight, to your point, what you're talking about sometimes when you have companies, especially partnering with DOT, that have timelines to do these things, we have to hold them to strict timelines like anybody else would, and actually getting the job done and the payment that's associated for doing it. Yeah. The dragging of the feet has gotten to a point where the bureaucracy that's overseen a lot of transportation has taken this over and dragged this out longer. And construction companies and other things that are partnering with DOT to get it done are just dragging it as well. And if we don't get the results we need, then we have to start finding different metrics that we can actually measure this to get it done.
I think when the area between Fayetteville and as you're going down towards Florence, they did a wonderful job. They've added another lane to 95. It's great. But that Fayetteville area construction has been going on for, I swear, that construction has been there for 10 years. Just like that construction on 85 has been there for 10 years.
Yep, 85, 440, 540, all of them.
Also, that road that takes you up to Duke between 95 and 85, that's another one. Yeah.
I've got a couple members you can talk to in that district about those projects. So, but I think just the general point is that we have to find a way essentially to make sure that not only the funding is available for these things, and the biggest thing on this project for US1 is that they wanted to toll it at one point in time. The local government here and some other folks here within transportation were looking to put a toll on this road. And if it wasn't for the actions of Representative Mike Sheetzelt, who was the House member based out of the Wake Forest area this time around in his first term, and the work that he did with local officials here in Wake Forest, I'm pretty certain we'd be looking towards something that's going towards a toll road. And one of the first things I'm going to do as a member of the Senate is pick back up on Representative Sheetzelt's work that he did in the House and making sure that there will be no state funds that are associated with the toll road in Wake Forest and whatsoever. There is other ways and there are other revenue streams out there and metrics out there for us to get the work done without having the working class and people that are commuting to and from their areas and the places that they work every day having to pay a toll because we can't decide as a government to manage our funds accordingly. That's totally and completely unacceptable. And last point on this too, and I'll shut up because I could talk forever, as you guys know, is on public education. North Carolina, I think, obviously has made some strides on teacher pay. We have to do more. We have to continue to pay our teachers more, but we also have to continue to pay our non-certified personnel more. Our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, people that actually are our people as well that keep the school running on time every day. One of the biggest issues I also see within school funds in North Carolina is essentially that we're looking at, for Wake County, for example, is the 16th largest school district. We're seeing central office positions that are making six-figure salaries, with unlimited amounts of employees and staff that work in these central office positions that haven't seen a classroom in 20 years. While at the same time, we have teachers that are paying for their own supplies. That's not the way this is supposed to work. And that's not the way that we're supposed to spend our public dollars. And that's not the way that education and public education is supposed to work as well. We're at the point right now in North Carolina where our learning outcomes are not great. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that not the state, but especially some of the local folks that are there on the school board level and other things like that aren't spending the funds that are given to them associated from the state in a correct manner that are actually directly impacting students and also preserving the ability for parents to be able to make the fundamental decisions for their students in the classroom. So that's another big thing, again, that we're going to emphasize throughout this campaign.
So in North Carolina, do you guys have township-based school districts or are they countywide school districts?
Countywide.
Oh, just like we have here in Maryland. And I'm assuming you've also got issues with, in addition to that, with education is test scores and so on. And you got the juggernaut, which is the AFT, which seems to have a knee-jerk reaction to just support anybody with a D next to their name.
Yeah, it's learning outcomes have been a massive issue here. And I think when you look at North Carolina, our state budget, 60+% of it goes to public education every year. Personally, for me, I'm a public school kid. I went to public school for elementary, middle, and high school. My mom's a former substitute teacher. You're not going to find anybody that believes more in public education probably than me. But I also believe in school choice and having students have the opportunity to go elsewhere and their parents decide if they want to go elsewhere through the opportunity scholarship program we have here. But with learning outcomes, I think what we've seen is a lot of the funds that you would expect to go towards student outcomes aren't actually achieving those outcomes, nor are they going towards the students. I think the money has to follow the students. I think every dollar that we spend in public education has to be towards the goal of making sure that our students are equipped to be able to leave that school and be productive members of society, to be able to, aspire, whether it's in a trade or going up to college, university level, the community college level. And what we're seeing, I think now more than ever before is we're starting to uncover, I think, a little bit more of why these funds aren't working and where they're going towards isn't necessarily to that outcome. And I think it's something that I want to jump on as quickly as I can on day one.
Do you have I was going to ask, assuming you get elected, do you have a preference of the kind of committee that you would be on?
That's a great question. I love that I'm getting that question before a primary. That's awesome. I think for me, I think I'd like to sit on Senate Education. I'd like to definitely be first and foremost on Senate Appropriations. The number of local projects in a constituency this big, to sit on those committees or a subcommittee within that on education or transportation would probably be the most beneficial to the people I represent, especially with the projects in Granville County as well. I'd love to sit on Senate Ag if I can as well. That's another one that, like I said, that's near and dear to my heart. I think those would probably be the top ones. Yeah.
So what's the current makeup of the North Carolina legislature? Because here we're just very used to not getting anything we want because we're in super minorities in both chambers.
Yeah.
So do you guys have it pretty split, or what does it look like there?
It's a super majority on the Senate side and a majority on the House side, both Republican.
Must be nice.
So we've well,
Tell us, what is that like?
It comes with its challenges. I've always appreciated our party, the Republican Party, of being the party of open ideas, free thought, free speech. And what you see even in a dynamic in which you would expect, everybody would always be in line together on everything, is that's not really the case. I think a lot of critical decisions that are done actually come because of the diversity and thought that we have within those caucuses. There's a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and different Republicans from different parts of the state often have a different experience and a different outlook. I do think one of the things that is lacking, hence, I think one of the more, the bigger things of why I'm even running is a younger outlook. I think again, I'm 29. I think the issues I touched on with cost of living and quality of life, I think those are things and perspectives that aren't necessarily, prevalent right now. And it's getting there. We do have younger members of both caucuses, but I do enjoy and think that we need younger people in politics. But yeah, it's overall a good thing, but we fight. We've got a lot of personalities and a lot of strong opinions on things, and I think oftentimes with compromise, regardless of Republican or Democrat, that's something that leads to sometimes the best outcomes. Is not everybody gets everything they want, and everybody likes a little bit, but also doesn't like a little bit, and you see a lot of that consensus that's drawn out of that dynamic in a certain respect.
Yeah, I think you and I had the same takeaways from last night, which is that we need to be focused on cost of living, and especially for younger people. Having a 75-year-old dude tell you, "Oh, I get it, it's so hard for you." I'm like, "Well, but you're not still paying off student loans, and it's not impossible for you to buy a house." And it's like, these are very much generational issues that I think a lot of younger people unfortunately get taken in by someone like Zoran Mamdani, who's like, "I'll just give you everything for free," when we all know that that's not possible.
Sure.
And we can provide a different solution to that.
Sure. And I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I saw you had a great kickoff with my favorite North Carolinian, former lieutenant governor, former AG.
I know.
Who should be running for president one day.
I almost brought him a picture of Dwight so he could sign it and I can send it back to you. I thought of it.
I would have appreciated that.
He's a great friend. I was lucky to have him there. He spoke a lot. He was a lot nicer to me than I expected to, which is always great to hear.
He's a nice guy. Dan's actually a really nice guy. I met him at the convention.
I'm joking. He's a great man. I was lucky to receive his endorsement following the event as well too. So that was awesome. Very honored. And
you had a lot of other elected officials at your kickoff. That's always a good sign. Yeah, we were sponsored. So it was sponsored by the Senate Senior Appropriations Chair. Like I said, it's a person who helps write our state budget, and then the Senate Rules Chair, who essentially controls where the bills go. And so I was honored to have both of their support. I had a number of folks from the House as well that were there. Representative Heather Ryan, former school board member, a huge voice in education in this state, was there. Like we mentioned, Dan Forrest, and Representative Mike Sheetsheld as well, who has been the biggest advocate for this area, especially in Northern Wake, was there also. And it was great. It really was. I was lucky to have as many people there as I did.
So you guys have the Republican majorities in both chambers, but you have a Democrat governor. So you can it's not veto proof where you guys are.
No.
So what does that look like? Is he super Democrat? Do you guys feel like he's going to approve a lot of the stuff that you want to do? What's that going to be like?
Yeah, so it's been interesting so far. It's not the first time. We had that with Governor Cooper, but we did have the veto-proof majority at one point with him.
He
Governor
was a
Stein.
Republican too.
No, Governor Cooper was a Democrat.
Oh, I'm thinking of McCrory. That's who I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
Governor. So we've definitely, I think it's kind of interesting because we are a purple state. So I think you see a tendency sometimes for folks to run on a more moderate level platform. And then you see kind of things change definitely when the politics play into it when they get elected. And I think that's kind of similar to what we've seen so far. When it comes to that, there have been a lot of spats, as you could expect. I think one of the latest ones is with Medicaid funding that we've seen between the legislature and him. I don't want to attribute anything bad to him personally, but at the same time, I think again he's not somebody who has presented many solutions. Instead, has been, I think, more of someone who's pointed out the problems. I don't. I have a hard time rationalizing sometimes with individuals that think that way. And so, yeah, it's been interesting. There's been some spats. I mean, he's had a couple vetoes, and we're one vote shy, I think, technically in the House. I think it is of a full supermajority in both bodies. So yeah, I mean, you definitely have to reach across the aisle with certain issues when it comes to those vetoes. And we've seen some of that, but I think we're prepared for it. I think we're not surprised of what we see sometimes. Thank God there aren't things like line item vetoes and things along those lines as well. And so, one of the biggest frustrations for me that I saw that wasn't a veto, but was a very, very late decision by Governor Stein was his late decision to pretty much on the last day sign Arena's law. If you guys are familiar with that case that happened out of Charlotte with the young woman, Ukrainian refugee who was stabbed on the subway system there. It was very, very common sense, practical approaches for criminal justice reform, bail reform, cashless bail reform, magistrate reform, some of the things I touched on that were at least initially kind of analyzed and put into a bill for named after her. We saw very, very late and rumored of veto or, to essentially let the bill become a law without signing it. Just a lot of gamesmanship and partisanship on something that I think between, the four of us on this screen, but anybody else that listens to it is very common sense. And I think what's been frustrating to see is regardless of partisanship is I think there's a lot of issues, not, whether you want to put a percentage on it, that everybody can more or less agree upon. And when you see things like that and gamesmanship played, it's disheartening, it's discouraging. And it kind of makes you second guess things sometimes, because that for me, I think was a moment for this state and the people of this state to come together to understand that there's a problem and that this is just the very beginning of a solution, not only to keep people alive, but to keep everyone safe as well along with it. And that still kind of rubs me the wrong way to this day.
So has the government shutdown really affected your district? Because I know you guys have some government footprints, federal government footprints out there. Has that really, the shutdown affect your district in the state of North Carolina in general? Has it been a big impact, or is it more just like noise you hear from Washington about the shutdown, the Schumer shutdown, I should say?
It's well, thank you. It's more than noise. It's a reality. If you're talking about furloughed federal employees, I've talked to plenty. If you're talking about people that aren't receiving their SNAP benefits, yes, it's a massive issue here. It's probably not atypical to other places, but yes, we're feeling it just like anyone else. And it is frustrating. Whether you want to call it a Schumer shutdown or whatever the case is, the North Carolina, our appropriators passed a statute that allows for North Carolina to have an already built-in CR, continuing resolution. So that prevents us from a state from ever, if we don't meet our appropriations budget deadlines, to allow for last year's funding levels to also to take place to the point where everything is still being fully funded. And I think that's what gets lost in the noise here. When you're having an appropriations argument, especially now in a public appropriations argument now more than ever before, you can hash out, and it's a complicated way to make a budget. I've made plenty. You can hash out a lot of the intricacies of what should or shouldn't be and how much it should be and how much it shouldn't be for all different types of issues. And the federal government, I believe, has at least 12 that they have to dive into every single time. The reason why a CR exists is essentially to make sure not only that the government levels are funded, but that at least with this Congress, that both parties have to agree to keep the government open. And when you don't get the number from the other side, regardless of how the math works out, that's what we're seeing today. And I think like every other Republican or any other person, I'm a little frustrated, and I don't like to just point fingers again without solutions. But the solution to me is pretty simple. You have to vote to keep the government open, and that's it. It doesn't solve every problem in appropriations and everything you want to fund or don't fund. I agree. But I don't think people's lives, I don't think the ability for them to feed their families should be used for leverage, regardless of who's in power.
So the most important question, where can people find you? Where can they donate to you? It looks like Dwight beat us to it. He's got it up there.
Oh,
on the ticker.
perfect. Perfect. So you can find our website at stockfornc.com. We do have our platform up there. I also encourage everyone to follow me on or follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at Stock for NC as well. We do a pretty good job of putting out daily posts. Yesterday, as you could expect with the municipal races, we spent most of our day at the polls, but we're out and about in the community. I've made a pledge to plenty of people that you're not going to find me hiding anywhere. I'll be out and about and pretty much in anything I can be, and meeting as many folks as I can. I encourage you to just stay up to speed on what we have going on there. We'll have our next event as well, campaign event coming up this month before Thanksgiving. Details are being finalized on that. But we're up and running. And I know that's cliche, running for office, but there's no other way between the four of us on this call. And again, whoever else decides to tune in today, there's no other way I know how to do this job than to go 100 miles an hour. That's the only way I know how to do it. I always say, regardless of who's going to run in what position, if my name's involved in it, no one's going to outwork me. And that's because of the background as a first generation, everything that I am right now, including college student on down the line. That's the only way I know how to be successful, is to outwork everyone around me. So we're going to keep that mindset. We're going to keep that pace. We're going to set that pace and continue to make sure that we put Republicans in this district and our constituents in this district at the forefront of every conversation, and make sure that they know that their thoughts, their issues are being listened to, that solutions are being talked about, and that open dialogue takes place so that we can come to the common sense conclusions and common ground that makes us in this place work.
Awesome.
By the way, Chris, I want to compliment you on your professional design of the site. Very well done.
Thank you. I wish I could take credit for it. I don't have much of a tech hand in me, so I got good people around me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen some really bad campaign sites. Yours is one of the better ones. And this is your first time running for anything, right? Well, I actually ran for president before, so.
Yeah, fourth grade class president. I do have that on the resume.
Mr. President.
No. No, it's it is. It's the first time running. It's the first time running, and it's interesting because I think oftentimes people that run for stuff the first time are kind of talking about things that they maybe don't necessarily have a ton of personal experience kind of doing. And then at the same time, now for me, I kind of feel like it's kind of the opposite, where, I kind of grew up in and around the General Assembly. I think I probably understand it just about anybody better that's in this race. But I can't in good faith have conversations like we're having tonight with people without really understanding exactly what I'm telling them and what I'm pledging to do and promising to do on behalf of them, without being able to have that background knowledge and experience in order to be able to execute on day one. So yes, it's new, Dwight, no doubt. But it also feels oddly familiar.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, like I said, you're doing everything right on your campaign.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So Dwight, I know you've got a couple things to plug, right?
Yes, we've got our wonderful annual Katja Bullock Memorial United States Marine Corps Toys for Tots Christmas party coming up December 7th.
Rolls right off the tongue.
I know. Well, people didn't like Christmas, so that's what we're doing that now. So you can sign up. It's a free event. All we do is ask you, bring an unwrapped toy for the USMC Toys for Tots campaign. And basically that's it. Oh, we got the state party convention December 5th and 6th, and our party is on Sunday the 7th.
Make a full weekend out of it.
Our conventions are not as fun as North Carolina's conventions. They go for 3 days, and they have hospitality suites all 3 days. and they do some great stuff over there. But what else do we have? That's all I've got for. And I know you've got a YR Christmas party coming up.
I do. Our Christmas party is Saturday, December 20th. It's in Frederick. I'm going to be like really pathetic. Like, I need to raise another $1,000 very soon because I have to pay the catering deposit. So please buy your tickets. Early bird ends November 14th, or buy a sponsorship. We have some really cool sponsorship opportunities, especially for candidates. So reach out to me or reach out to Ashley Nieves, my executive director, or anyone on my board, and give us your money, please.
Hey, where in Frederick is your party going to be?
It's in
Frederick City?
Iamsville, and it's at a petting zoo farm thing in this really pretty barn. It's heated. It's heated, I promise. And we have a bonfire. Yeah, and you guys also have First Thursday tomorrow, right?
Yes, we do. We have the candidate for Maryland District 8, the Jamie Raskin killer. She's running, and yeah, hopefully she can defeat Jamie Raskin or give him a good scare.
Cool. All right.
And also, don't forget Missoni's great Italian restaurant in Baltimore County. That's where we all head off to after the show, Chris. But,
I'll be there. I'll be there virtually.
I tell you, next time you're up here, I'll take you over there. That's the owner used to be Bob Ehrlich's communications guy. And yeah, he did. The food is excellent.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. And we will be back. Not me. I'll be in Hawaii next week. But Mark and Dwight will be back.
God willing, you'll be in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, if the government shutdown ends or the FAA decides to be nice to me and let my flight take off.
Or maybe you'll be stuck. Maybe you'll be stuck in Hawaii.
Right. Maybe I'll be stuck in Hawaii or in Dallas if my layover is. We'll see.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Cool. Right. Good night, everyone.
Night, guys. Thank you so much for having me.